mean, I think some of it too is just that this is a team that didn't know what they wanted from a head coach, and if that's the case, I mean, either Beeline was horribly misguided and really thought that he was going to be able to have a team that was good. I mean, I don't know if he watched the Cavaliers a season ago, but they weren't going to play a playoff team. Just let's be real. I mean, you and I were higher than most on this team, and even we were pretty darn confident they weren't going to end up in the playoffs. I mean, to me, the thing is, what did Beeline think was going to happen? If he is trying to get out of here, more than anything, like, I mean, what did he expect
Yeah, but
out of
it's
this
it's
team?
year one of a rebuild.
Yeah,
You think about it. Colin Sexton's in his second year. Garland's a rookie. Yeah, there are some veterans there, but they don't even know what they have, and for him to walk away, it's got to be something deeper. I think there's something in the water in Lake Erie, man, between Detroit sports and Cleveland sports. I mean, the Indians are selling off players. They got rid of Bauer and Corey Kluber, and they're talking about maybe Lindor not being there. You got the Browns. Enough said. And the Cavs, I mean, you're right. If it wasn't for LeBron's greatness, I mean, the whole city of Cleveland would just not watch sports. It's
yeah,
really sad to see.
yeah. I mean, speaking of Lake Erie, there was also a little bit of news. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. The Pistons did, after basically they're jettisoning their team at this point. They bought out Reggie Jackson. He is going to be going to the Clippers, Jason. I mean, what do you make of this? What do you make of the way the Pistons have handled this? I mean, they're kind of taking the opposite page out of the book from what the Cavaliers are doing, who just got Drummond and seem to be rudderless. I mean, on the other hand, we look at the Pistons; they seem ready to kind of just start over and rebuild. Or are you more interested in the impact that Jackson might have in LA?
That's a little bit of both. Reggie Jackson was supposed to be the point guard of the future there. Got max money after a semi successful run with the Thunder and didn't live up to that contract. But he is a starter level player in this league, and that's why I think the Clippers are getting an absolute steal because this is a starter type playing in their second unit. And for the exact reasons why they cut Isaiah Thomas after acquiring him at the trade deadline, because they have ball handlers there and Pat Beverly and Lou Williams and Landry Shamet. Dude, like they're going to have a starter playing in their second unit. Their second unit is now Reggie Jackson, Montrezl Harrell, and Lou Williams on top of Kawhi and Paul George. I mean, this could be the piece to put the Clippers over the top. I think this says more about Jackson's willingness to chase a championship because allegedly the Lakers were also interested and he chose the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers are now, I think, the bona fide title favorites. I think they've passed the Lakers. I think they've passed the Bucks. This is that impactful of a signing. And the one thing I'll say about the Pistons, look, they got rid of Drummond. Griffin's out for the year. They got rid of Jackson. Derrick Rose has got to get bought out and signed with the contending team in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, no
Absolutely has
chance. No chance. They're not getting rid of him for nothing. They're gonna want to. I actually was about to say, Jason. I mean, I'll tell you what this move tells me. It tells me that what what they're thinking is, what a great way to build up Rose's value. Now they let Rose play a little bit more. He gets a few more minutes. Those numbers jump up even more, and then come off season, they're going to be in the market for some first round picks to get someone to get Rose because that was what they were allegedly looking for. They decided to get rid of Drummond. They said not worth it. He wasn't, they didn't want to risk him opting in, which says a lot about where we're at with big men. But with Rose, they were not going to take whatever someone was offering. They said, no way, we want a certain amount or we're not even thinking about it. And now, without Jackson there and with all the injuries, I mean, Rose is going to get to take an awful lot of the offense over. So I'm pretty interested to see what they do there because I actually sort of like the way that they handled this. They have some guys on that team, Jason, that I actually am a little bit higher on, I think, than the average people. I like Christian Wood. I'm actually a
Yes.
big fan of him. I like Luke Kennard. I think Luke Kennard is a guy who people have actually slept on a little bit this year. When he was out there, he was actually pretty good, and he was a much better passer than I think people realized. I think he has a little bit of game. And then the guy who I'm really interested in is Sekou Demboya, who's the rookie they got, who's had these flashes. And I'm curious to see if if he could kind of be a piece for them, because if they can get one of those guys to pop, I mean, they're going to have some room for free agents in the next few years. I think they could try and get
They
a
don't get
second
free
tier guy.
agents. It's Detroit.
But they can
And
get a second tier guy. And you know what, Jason? They have Blake Griffin. If Blake Griffin can return to form a little bit in the next couple years and they get a B guy, they just need a couple young guys to pop and they have a chance to actually have something. I mean, I thought that was a great move by them, giving the young guys a chance to show what they have, because, I mean, ultimately, that's what Detroit needs. They need to have a couple young guys who come and become stars and they grow them in the organization, and then they get the B-level guy in free agency. I mean, look at what Milwaukee did, how they added these kind of complementary pieces, and they got lucky with Giannis. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's not a pick that anyone knew that Giannis was going to be that good, including the Bucks. And that's how they built it. They got secondary guys, you know, and that's how they built their team. And I think if you're Detroit, you have to look at that and say, that's how we want to build our team. That's how we want to build our contender.
Well, just imagine this team 5 years ago, before Derrick Rose's devastating injuries, while Blake Griffin was at his peak, while Drummond was a young room-running five. I mean, this team would have been a contender in the East. I just think it was 5 years too late. But I do think Derrick Rose could be let go, because last summer he signed a 2-year deal worth $15 million. So it's all guaranteed. He earned a base salary, or is earning a base salary, of $7.3 million, while carrying a cap hit at a dead value hit of $7.5 million. So let's say he agrees to a buyout and leaves $5 million on the table, goes to a contender. I think that's something both parties can agree to. And if Derrick Rose has the right set of agents, he could be gone in the next 2 weeks. If not, definitely in the offseason. He will, mark my words, Ben, Derrick Rose will not finish out that deal in Detroit.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all, but I think they're going to pump his value up during the rest of this season.
I think he's gone before March 1st, and he'll be playing in the playoffs.
Interesting.
It's not a 5-year pact, man. I mean, his contract is easy enough. He's made enough money with Adidas and, you know, the MVP type contract he had that he got from the Bulls. He's a rich man. Winning's important. I predicted that he was going to the Lakers before the Pistons signed him. You know, I think he went with the most money, but that was a surprise move in July with all the movement that was going on. I thought the Lakers, and now that they lost out on Reggie Jackson, don't be surprised if LeBron and AD are putting on a full court press to get Derrick Rose to say, "Get me out of here. I'm coming to LA." And then Lakers conference finals,
bet here.
Reggie Jackson versus Derrick Rose. We thought it was going to be Kyle Lowry versus Marc Gasol, Lakers Clippers, and we were wrong about that because the Raptors are really good this year. But Derrick Rose is going to the Lakers. Reggie Jackson allegedly going to the Clippers. Mark my words. I will bet you the yard next time I'm in Pittsburgh.
Now you got a deal. I was just talking to Flo about this, and we need to go to the yard. So a free trip to the yard sounds even better to me. I think you're on. So it's March. I will make the prediction that Derrick Rose does not get moved until the offseason.
So now, if he gets moved but not the Lakers, do I win the bet, or does it have to be LA?
Oh, I mean, we're gonna have to figure out the terms of this offline, and then we're gonna put together a little yard bet, because I like this. I like the terms of this bet so far. So we're gonna put that together. But there is one other move, Jason, that we have to talk about that happened. I think it got a little under the radar with everything that was going on, but the Rockets pretty much go all in on small ball. I mean, that's pretty much what we saw. They decided to get a couple guys, DeMarre Carroll and Jeff Green, instead of getting a more traditional center. I think that surprised a lot of people, but I think if you read what D'Antoni and Morey had been saying, it's not that shocking. This is what they wanted to do. They wanted to go all in on small ball, Jason. I mean, what do you make of this? The fact that they're basically saying this is how we're going to play, and that's it. You know, we're not going to have any contingencies. We're just doing it our way, and if we lose, we lose the way we want to play. I mean, what do you think of that kind of strategy and that risk taking?
Two key takeaways. One, Mike D'Antoni is trying to get PJ Tucker murdered when you're going out in the Western Conference against the likes of Nikola Jokic, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis. There's rumors DeMarcus Cousins might play this season. Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee. I mean, the Lakers have 15 centers on their roster alone. Hassan Whiteside, Yusuf Nurkic, Zion Williamson. I mean, should I go on? Mike D'Antoni, he should have been never allowed back into the league after his Knicks days. Okay, it was cute in Phoenix when you had the personnel, the Steve Nashes, the Raja Bell, Stoudemire, Mary. It's not working now. And this is my second point. Jeff Green's agents need a raise. He got a 10-day. He's going to go there, get 15 minutes at the 5, say, screw this, I'm out, and leave after his 10 days up. DeMarre Carroll, though, considering how well he's looked the last 2 years playing with the Nets, the fact that the Spurs and Greg Popovich just kind of left him on the bench, I mean, the Nets made the smart call not resigning him, so I am interested to see what he has left in the tank there. Covington's young, he'll be there, but PJ Tucker is going to get killed out there. It's insane to me what D'Antoni's trying to accomplish, what Daryl Morey's trying to accomplish. You know what I think's going on? Because of everything that happened in China, Morey's trying to repay for the things he says, and he's letting China just run the personnel decisions, and they're all sitting there across the world and laughing that PJ Tucker is a starting center in the NBA. That's what I think happened.
I think that this is the last stand for Morey and D'Antoni, and I think they want to go out on their terms. I think they realize that they're done. If they don't win the title this year, I think they're done. I think that the ownership is going to clean house if that doesn't happen, because there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go, Jason. Look at the contracts on this team. They can't trade anybody. If they make any trades, they're getting negative value. They gave up first-round picks to get Russell Westbrook, and if the All-Star game is any indication, Chris Paul might be better than Russell Westbrook is right now. And
it's kind of awkward in the All-Star game watching Chris Paul and James Harden out there together in the fourth quarter. Harden didn't look like himself at all, and I kind of giggled to myself every single time they interacted or like Paul passed Harden the ball, because James Harden didn't look very comfortable playing out there. I know there was some bad blood between the two reported by everyone pretty much. And Westbrook just comes in there head full of steam, bull in a china shop. But yeah, continue your point. I just had to get that out because it was so awkward between those two.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have to tell you, I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I got to respect it because those two guys have done as much as anyone to advance the game into the style that we're now seeing. And the Warriors will get credit in a lot of ways because they're the ones who won the title. But it's the Suns, it's the Spurs, it's those teams, it's D'Antoni, it's Daryl Morey who have pushed the league as far as it's gone. And for them to go all in, I kind of like the cojones of those two to say, you know what? We believe that what we're doing is the right thing. We believe this is how you can get an advantage in the league. And you know what? This is, Jason, to me, the definition of putting your money where your mouth is. They have said, you know what? If we're wrong, we're going to see it. And if we're right, we're also going to see it. Now, they have a tough schedule down the stretch. They have an easy schedule down the stretch. One of the easier in the league. So there's a chance for them to move up. We'll see. I think it's going to be a really interesting test. I don't know how much the seeding actually matters this year because I think teams are pretty close, and I think for a team like the Rockets, just they shoot so many threes that it's going to be more about how well they're shooting than anything else. I think they need to stay healthy, get into the playoffs healthy, but if they can avoid a bad matchup or two in here, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think if you're the Rockets, you probably don't want to play a team like the Lakers. And I guess you'd want to dodge a team like the Nuggets because you don't want to play those big men. But I don't know. I mean, this is the thing, Jason. I think they're betting that when they play those teams, that the fact that those guys have these big men, they're going to say, you know what? You come down here and post me up. On the other end, we're getting 3 when you get 2. And I'm honestly, I think I'm just fascinated to see how this plays out, Jason, because this is them betting big. I mean, this is them virtually betting their careers This is their job. Their jobs are on the line with this move, and I have to say I respect it. I love that they're putting it all on the line for this, and I am just so fascinated